Good morning, good morning, good morning, how are you? I'm fine, and I hope that you are too. Good morning, boys and girls. We're getting ready for Thanksgiving, and yesterday we started learning about the Native Americans. Well, today we're going to continue learning about the Native Americans. All right, so our morning message this morning says Native Americans could grow food and build shelter. Okay, so one thing about the Native Americans is that they lived in America for a very long time before our people from England came over here. Okay, so they lived here for a long time. They knew the land, they knew what foods could grow in the soil, they knew how to build shelter to protect them from storms and the weather. Okay, so they knew how to do all of these things that we didn't know how to do when we came over here. All right, so the Native Americans, they could grow food and they could build shelter. Do you know what shelter is? Shelter is like your home, okay? Or like a building, okay? So shelter is what will protect you from the elements that are outside. All right? So the Native Americans, they could grow food, but they could also build shelter. All right? So that's what our morning message says, and that's what we're going to write this morning. So, what was our first word? Native. Okay, so Native Americans could grow food and build shelter. And then I'm putting my period at the end of our sentence. Okay, so I'm going to point to the word, and as I point to the word, you read it with me. Native Americans could grow food and build shelter. All right, so Native Americans, they could grow food. All right, so some foods that they were really good at growing was corn. Okay, they were really good at growing corn and other types of crops like vegetables. And then they were also really good at building shelter, building buildings and homes that would protect them from the weather. All right, so we're going to find our special letter of the week. Our special letter of the week is the letter I. All right, so get your fingers out. All right, and as I write, you write with your finger. Okay, so pull down, go to the top, slide over, go to the bottom, and slide over. All right, so there is our uppercase I. With your finger, you should have pulled down, go to the top, slide over, go to the bottom, slide over. All right, now let's write our lowercase I. Lowercase I, pull down and dot it at the top. So with your finger, you should pull down, dot it at the top. All right, so now let's take a look at our morning message that we wrote and see if we can find a letter I. Okay, so I'm looking to see if I can find an uppercase I. So I'm looking through the letters and I notice that I do not see an uppercase I. The only uppercase letters that I see is the first letter in our sentence and the first letter in the name Americans. Okay, so Native Americans, that's the name of the people that were here first. And so we have an uppercase N and an uppercase A. So I know that we do not have an uppercase I in our morning message. So let's move on to our lowercase I and see if we can find any lowercase i's. So I'll give you just a second to take a look. All right, so let's look in our first word, native. Do we have a lowercase I in our first word, native? We do. Where is it at? Good, you found one right here. So I'm going to underline it. Okay, so there we have our first lowercase I. It is in our word native. Okay, let's take a look in the word Americans. Do you see the letter I in our word Americans? Good, you found one right here, so I'm underlining it. So we have an I in native and an I in Americans. Okay, what about this word right here, build? Build. Can you find a letter I in the word build? Good, you should have found one right here. So I'm just going to put a little line under it. All right, so let's count how many I's we found. Count with me. 1, 2, 3. We found 3 lowercase i's. So I want you to hold up your hand, make a fist like this, and then we're going to count to number 3 using our fingers. Okay? Count with me. 1, 2, 3. So we found 3 lowercase i's and we counted to 3 using our fingers. All right. Boys and girls, y'all are doing such a wonderful job helping me with the morning message. And I'm so glad that you're learning about the letter I. All right, so today we're going to continue learning about Native Americans and their culture and how deep their culture really is. Okay? All right, so I hope you enjoy the rest of our day and I will see you back here later.